Sport Orbit. We make the world go round.
A very good afternoon and welcome to yet another fresh edition of Sport Orbit right here on your number one station that is talking about the Leadership Podcast Studio. My name is Olawale Ayeni and I'm welcoming you to this wonderful edition of the show Sport Orbit. And I have with me in the studio Salif Usman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Wale. How was the Lagos? How was the Super Eagles versus Cleveland?
It was okay.
Liberia.
Of course,
Life in Lagos.
yes, life in Lagos, 3 points in the bag, 2 goals. They are right now. They are in Cape, hoping to see that they will consolidate on the victory of against Liberia to ensure that their World Cup qualifiers is on track.
But from what you see, do you think that the was still in right with starting that day? He led to Cimaxed for very long time on the pitch.
Of course, he was hoping that Sarah will actually not get his reading back, but at the end of the day, he couldn't actually come to the party. Let's wait and see his performance against Cape Verde, because we know that a certain creativity in Acho will not be in action in the match against Cape Verde. Of course, Alpha, welcome to the show.
Wale, welcome back from Lagos. Hope you had a nice time.
Of course, Lagos, the hustling and bustling is not easy, but
While we were watching the game, we had spoke extensively about the pitch of the Tesla Balogun Stadium. From what we saw, the pictures we saw on TV, the pitch was not really, but you were there on ground. And Genadro had complained about the pitch. So how was the pitch really?
For me, I will rate the pitch, let me just say 55%, because there are still some, potholes when it comes to the pitch. Not all the pitch are, green. There's still some, muddy parts when the rain actually, affected,
So that's saying the pitch wasn't actually fully
ready. Of course,
ready.
no, the pitch is not fully ready. But we just hope that the one in Abuja will be fully ready. It should be ready before the next, qualifying World Cup match. But I hope that the NFF we actually not playing that much to Abuja, because we know the politics, behind the NFF when it comes to taking Super Eagles matches to states, so that the state government can actually bankroll the the match. But at this point in time, let us keep our finger crossed. I hope that the sports minister will actually mandate the NFF to ensure that Super Eagles matches are played in Abuja. The renovated pitch. But just to let you know, still talking about the Super Eagles, the team has landed in Mindelo. That is talking about Cape Verde at this point in time. They arrived early hours of today ahead of their World Cup second group game against the Sharks of Cape Verde. And the players like Ndidi, Henacho, Iwobi, Joe Aribo, Leon Balogun, Tabo, didn't actually make it to Cape Verde because of the COVID-19 restriction. They will actually not train today before the match proper tomorrow. But we know that about 8 players which didn't actually took part against Liberia. They have been drafted, into the squad that will play that will play against Cape Verde. But do you see these players, coming to fill up the big shoes? And the likes of players like Ndidi, Henacho, who scored the brace for Nigeria against Libya. Do you think these players can actually fill up those spots?
Well, to start with, first and foremost, I expect the team landed in Cape Verde today, this morning, and hope that they're going to have their only training. Yes, only training. They're going to have the feeling of the pitch this evening, and then waiting for the match tomorrow. I was expecting the team to have moved yesterday. Probably
in the mid hours of yesterday, 2 a.m. yesterday.
As well as they could have landed in yesterday, having a training this morning, and then probably having a training in the evening. And also having the rest. But notwithstanding, and just like we see, basically out of the team that played the first lineup that played against Liberia, 6 of those players are already out. So in the defense, after the 4 defenders, so it's only remain Jamil or Conte. And if you come to the midfield, both Iditi, Joe Aribo, and Iwobi, so the midfield is completely off.
For a table.
Completely.
The table
came
in as a substitute.
Okay.
So the midfield completely off. So in their absence, So what are going to have now? We are going to have the pairing between Era Omeruo, Ibushi, and then the Ibushi and Wazini. So, and then we call it that he's still around. And we are going to like him. It's going to likely that it's going to the midfield is not going to be actual by the new guy that's just come in, Bonky. So, but I still strongly believe. Let's hope that we'll be able to get a result against the keeper. And getting a result is very, very, very important. So, like I was saying, if at all we can't get a victory, the worst result we should expect, we should fight for, is a draw. Because anything short than draw is going to count against us. Because our next match is against Central Africa. And if we will be doing this, if by mistake Cape Verde win this match, Cape Verde will be leading. And the Cape Verde against next match is against Liberia. So that means that will push us downward. And if at all Central Africa also get result against Liberia, that will come down to the top position. So Genedrol, he has a whole load of handwork on his hand. He has to ensure that he ticker the team very well, because there's no doubt having a complete overhaul of the team that played the last match is going to affect the team. Because from the midfield, we play 4-3 formation, and out of the four, have the battle, I have only one person. The entire midfield has been pushed. Only you are bringing new people. So the only place that we have some advantage in the league is the striking forward. Because at the start of the three that played this again, it's only Hinashaw that is not going to play. And in the absence of Hinashaw, this guy Paul Anashaw can come in, either Paul Anashaw or Yekuru. Any of those people can come in. So we have a lot of options at the forefront. But in the midfield, our option is limited. So what like we are going to likely see tomorrow on Tuesday, we are going to see Safe Abdullahi being deployed as a defensive midfielder.
Yes, because I've seen that.
I've seen him playing that short role against Sela on the way before. So we are likely to see Safe Abdullahi being deployed against as a holding midfielder. So, and let's hope this all work against. I hope it work for us. And if I'm a coach and this message, and the boys will be 100% concentrated. There should be no any limit of a second drop of concentration. There should be 100% concentration. Because any little slight mistake will cost you. And remember this, the given they are very speedy.
Yes, they're very, very fashionable. Before I come to you, Alpha, looking at the team list, actually no travel to Cape Verde. Francis Uzoho, Daniel Akpegi, Maduka Okoye, they are the three goalkeepers that in Cape Verde at this point in time. 2 days ago, was Kenneth Omara, Jamilu Collins, Abdullah Shehu, Saidu Sanusi, Valentine, 1-4. Talking about Troy Ubuche, those are the defenders that are actually in Cape Verde at this point in time. And then in the middle of the park, we have Chidara, ATK, Innocent Bonkri, Kingsley Michael, and Adekunle Adeleke of Abia Warriors. That is just only the home-based player in that team. Then forward we have Ahmed Musa, Samuel Kalu of Budos, Victor Sebe of Napoli, Moses Simon of Nantes, Paul Nacho of Genk. We have Terry Murphy of Laurent in France. We have Henry Onyekero of Olympiacos. Now, the Super Eagles will not be playing in the natural pitch. They will be playing in the artificial turf. And on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, we saw the Super Eagles training at the legacy pitch of the Surulere. That one too also is an asphalt turf. It's not a natural grass. Do you feel this is actually not count against that? The Super Eagles will play against the Sharks of Cape Verde?
Well, I guess it will to some certain extent because these players are not used to playing on artificial turf. Even from a football point of view, sir, playing on artificial turf is actually not even healthy enough for players, because it hinders your movement and all of those things. So I think it's a minus. But well, for the Cape Verde team, I'm sure they are used to playing on AstroTurf. So, a lot of African teams, when you go for this kind of qualifiers, they try to come up with different kind of tactics to ensure that they win. Exactly, because they are used to this kind of things. They know the Eagles are not used to playing on this kind of AstroTurf. So they are taking the boys there to try and say, okay, this is our turf. You are here in our home. So let's play the game here in our turf. So, well, I think it will count against the Eagles in a way. Then, of course, for the fact that we are missing a whole lot of players who should have made the difference is a big problem because, like Salif rightly said, the attack is okay. Defense, yeah, average, but the midfield, that's where the problem is.
Brand new set of players.
You know, like they say, midfield, I mean, attack on point, but midfield is
vibes
and inshallah.
But at this point in time, the midfield is the engine room of the team.
Exactly.
If your midfield is collapsed, it means your front and your defense.
Yeah, so but now we are deploying people who are going to be playing in where it's not really in their natural playing position. So of course they won't be playing at their best. You know, so it's really sad that this UK quarantine rules and all of that has eventually still affected our players. In the first game, we thought, okay, since they were able to, you know, get through the Liberia game, maybe in the next game, but it wasn't bound to happen. And now we are seriously, my expectations for the Cape Verde match are not really that high because
I really expect anything.
No, it will for me. It will be. I don't want to call it a miracle, but the Eagles will have to do an extra job to actually get a point in Cape Verde, talk less of even winning. Even if they get a draw, at this point, with the situation at hand, it should be, you know, okay. You know, at least that will make it 4 points. So one way or the other, depending on what happens in the other games, they should still be topping the group, but it's really a difficult position they've been put in. But I expect that, you know, they all put in their best, and well, this shouldn't be an excuse for, of course, but Genadro will use this as an excuse if, for instance, the outcome of the match is, you know, maybe a draw or, God forbid, we lose. Exactly, you know, so it's an excuse. And of course, you can actually cut him some slack for that because Nigeria is actually in a difficult situation the way things are currently.
What will be your own prediction? A draw for a win? Which one?
There's nothing to predict in this match.
The boys should just go out there and get to play.
And ensure that they play their own game. And at the same time, what is that? Is also, yes, in as much as it has started against Nigeria, we are not having our key players. Those players that opportunity has been thrown at them, they should see as a blessing.
Exactly.
And it's an opportunity for them also to showcase themselves and know it's okay. I can also
fight
I'm
for good enough.
And grab that position. Absolutely. Also, who tell you if you play well and did perfectly well against the expectation of many Nigerians, who take you can't display will be from the midfield. Who say that you can't display win from the midfield and you are able from the midfield if you are able to give more than they can give. So those players, I believe that if they can help me, person of Shidra Ejikis and Ejike Innocent, Bonkis and Michael should see this as an opportunity. That instead of me coming out to the camp all the time, sitting on the bench and warm the bench, and then the way they score, I jump here and celebrate the goal. And when if there's anything to share, I share with them without even participating. Instead of me to just make a number, use this opportunity that I'll be thrown on you to prove that yes, you can do better. Okay, for instance, in the defense, Omero has lost his position to the Igbo guys.
Yes, of course.
The Igbo guys. So it's an opportunity for him now to say no. This rightly belongs to me. Remember, it is Omero that retired Igbo.
Yes.
Omero retired Igbo 2013 when we went to the African tournament 2013, and he grabbed that position and was able to do better when he grew again in the quarterfinal. He did the Drogba to it. You see, Drogba could not do anything, and he won that match. Since then, still in case he's then coach, throw the confidence on him, and that was the end of Yobo career as a national team player. So if now when it came to the time when those Yobo guys come and they formed a perfect league, and then he was displayed. He was trying to become the position when Balogun dropped in form, but now Balogun is back on his form. He has become the position. It's not left for Omero also to use opportunity, and this number 2 actually belong to me.
Exactly.
I reclaim it also. So and then the other guy who is going to play in the place of when Aina is going to be. So also use opportunity that says I can do better. So it's an opportunity that is told to them. Also, like if Paul Anacho has an opportunity to play tomorrow, it shows that no, I can also man the number 9.
Sure.
So we should be seeing the pairing of Oseme and
so we may likely go if I thought may likely ship Oseme or see Oseme be dropped to the wing, or and then having Garnacho in the right number 9, the 9. And then Simon is still available, and then Samuel Kalu is still around, and Ahmed Musa is like as a sub, like coming as a sub. And same like this opportunity, this match tomorrow, if Ahmed Kalu, Musa Ahmed to win his own cup, join the like of Joseph Yogo, join the like of Dissect. These are the 2 players that have played 100 club players for Nigeria. Only 2 of them have made that mark. Now Musa, you have opportunity to make them tomorrow. Mikel couldn't make it, and many other players that were even singing, and none of them will even make it to the 100 mark. So I congratulate Ahmed Musa ahead. It's not easy to play to represent your country for 100 times and still have opportunity to say. The way I see him, if you play the World Cup qualifier,
he's just 29.
Yes, he's just 29.
You still have about 3 more years.
Even though if you look at me, play all this qualifier all through, play the next qualifier round, you may even display Yoko and play Vincent Demand, then become the only record of the World Cup. So,
of course.
So the players who have this opportunity should use opportunities and grab the shade, and so that they can also do better. So not minding to give a skill, we are going to play on Asuto or whatever we are going to play on Asuto, or whatever it means. The least result we expect tomorrow should be a draw. We're not. They must not win, but if they win, the opportunity to throw at you, grab the 3 point, and secure yourself. So, but if you can't get it, get a draw.
Get a draw at this point in time. But before we go on a short break, the camp of Cape Verde at this point in time, they are saying underrate us and you underrate us at your own peril. This is actually not coming from the camp of Cape Verde. They are warning at the Nigerian Super Eagles, if you underrate us, my brother, actually no shock you. But for now, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, still news coming from the match between Brazil, Argentina, and many more on the show. We still Sports Orbit. Don't go nowhere. Welcome from that short break. It's still Sports Orbit right here on the Leadership Podcast studio. Before we went on that break, we're actually talking about as the Super Eagles quest to actually get 3 points and Cape Verde as the team has arrived for the Qatar 2022 World Cup qualifiers that will be coming up tomorrow in Cape Verde. Then at this point, we head straight to the camp of Cape Verde at this point, where the coach is saying on direct us at your own peril. That is actually not coming from the coach of Cape Verde, talking about Pedro Busto at this point in time. He has actually not declared war on the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Alpha, you see the Cape Verde, getting maximum points against the Super Eagles because they'll be playing on their own turf and at least they'll be playing at the stadium with a 5,000 capacity stadium and that will actually host at the match. So do you see them getting 3 points out from that match?
Anything is possible. I think I've watched the Cape Verde team a couple of times, and I must confess that they are a very, very decent side. No, it shouldn't be a side that should be underrated. So I think the coach has a point in what he's saying, and at the same time, it could still be mind games. These things happen before every big game of football. Yet the Cape Verde team is still a good side. So and playing in front of at least 5,000 of their fans, playing at their own turf. They will of course want to impress their fans and see if they can at least grab all maximum points. So the Eagles shouldn't go there and be overconfident, hoping that they are going to rough ride over the Cape Verde team. It won't go. I know it won't be an easy match. I must tell you, it won't be an easy encounter at all. So the Eagles should go there, play it as if they are playing any of the top teams in Africa. Play it as if you're preparing or playing a final, because those guys like Salifo keep saying they are very, very mobile,
Fast.
very, very,
Very
mobile.
fast.
On pitch. So and we don't really have those kind of players in our national team exactly who can match up with speed. So if we are able to at least contain their speed, we should be able to get something out of that match. But I think it's going to be a very difficult match for the Eagles, and if we get even a point from that match, for me, I think it will go. I'll call it a good performance if they escape with a point.
We'll keep our finger crossed and let's see what will really happen in that counter reaction will resume tomorrow on Tuesday between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the Cape Verde. So we hope that our boys get the job done in Cape Verde so that they can actually consolidate on their victory against Liberia to stay on top of Group C. Their group in the Group C alongside Liberia, Central African Republic, and Cape Verde. So away from that, still talking about World Cup qualifiers, the game between Brazil versus Argentina, about the health officials actually have stopped pitch to remove 4 of Argentina, a player in that particular. And those players are Premiership player that were not supposed to, travel to Brazil for that match, but they actually falsify their COVID-19 documents. And when the officials of Brazil saw that those documents were actually fortified, they actually stormed into the pitch to remove those 4 players, and that actually ended the match to be, the match didn't actually go on because of that. But what do you make of it? We know the UK restrictions on English players not allowing them to go to honor, away games where they claim that those countries are in the red flag when it comes to COVID-19.
Just like we're also seeing the one that affected us when we lost our own 8 players. I think FIFA, who is the owner of this game, should come out strong on the UK government and take quick action on this matter. Because I see this World Cup qualifier being delayed if at all the necessary action is not
The way it's going,
Okay, if for instance it become a European rule tomorrow, okay, UK now has get up to say no. If you become a European rule or the German league tomorrow now say that no, we are not allowed. If you are playing the German league, you shouldn't go and play. And it's Italian, they now come up with the same rule. The Spanish now come up with the same rule, and the French came up with the same rule. So where will the player who will be playing for the World Cup play? So if FIFA is interested in this World Cup, what they are playing for is the World Cup. That is the ultimate football competition in the whole world. There's no any competition that is more than World Cup. That is the highest World Cup, it's the highest peak of everything. So if FIFA is interested in this one and don't want this World Cup, it's not until you are yourself at Qatar 2020 that World Cup.
No, it begins
from this qualifier now is the World Cup process and that is being handled by the FIFA. So FIFA should come out and get this thing nip in the bud. If not, if they allow this thing to go escalate, I say Qatar 2022 World Cup there's a big delay. But if UK join this, if you the Spain join the train tomorrow, if the Italian join, the German join it, so when we will get the players to play the World Cup and they talk to everybody joining,
home base.
So yes, for
we
instance,
rely on local content.
because if the German can say, Spain can say, if UK can succeed,
Then
then we can also instead of allow those players to travel and bring in COVID. They can also restrict the road. But for me, based on what we have seen so far in this COVID crisis, I don't think Africa or South America are worse hit than the European.
Of course, at this point in time, FIFA need to actually weigh that and ensure that
see what happened. Okay, look okay, now the Brazil Argentina match couldn't go on. So these are going to be a pile up of matches.
Of course. Yes.
Okay, let's assume our 3 or 4 matches were delayed or not go on.
Putting more pressure on the
players. More pressure on the players.
Players like Martinez of Aston Villa, Budi of Tottenham, also La Cruz and Christian Romero were the 4 players that we actually bond without for the field.
And the way the Brazilian health officials handled this, that was disappointed.
Their reason basically was that those players you just mentioned actually falsified their COVID. So they felt slighted and deceived. That how dare you come into our country, deceive us, and get on the pitch. So I was ready to watch that game when I saw these guys actually practically rushing onto the pitch to forcibly
put them out.
But
evict those guys from the pitch.
But even as that, there's a rule that guiding the game. There's a match officials. What they know is to approach the match commissioner.
Of course.
And the match commissioner will definitely instruct the 4th official to call the official and stop the match and call this player instead of just to bomb into the pitch and embarrass those players.
But who knows if the match official was actually informed, but maybe he decided to just ignore.
But if match official was involved and they allowed the head official to get to the pitch, that is very wrong. The match official should have instructed the central or in fact the 4th official call the match official to stop the match, and then you call those players to run into the pitch as if you are arresting criminals. Just like Messi and the rest of others, Toster has come out to condemn the action. I think the onus lies on FIFA now. Take action on this thing. If they allow this thing to continue, I'm afraid for that. The World Cup may not have a headway.
Of course, the World Cup may not actually have a headway if we didn't get to resolve the crisis when it comes to the COVID-19 restriction coming from the UK government. Away from that, we head straight to the just concluded Paralympic Games, where Team Nigeria finished in 33rd position in the world and also they finished 4th in Africa. This was not the same result we got in the last edition in Rio 2016. But at this point in time, we saw them winning about 10 medals. They were actually won about 4 golds, 3 bronze, and 1
gold, 1 silver,
and 5 bronze. So, how do you actually make up the performance?
Not like since the Paralympics started, I have said it here repeatedly that these guys are always the ones who sort of like come out to bail us out anytime the so-called able-bodied people fail to perform. And good one for them. And I think they deserve every support, every commendation, and every encouragement that they are getting right now. And I just hope that they will be handsomely rewarded, just like the 2 medalists who went for the Olympics were rewarded. Because these guys are proving that there's actually ability in this ability. And each time they go for the Paralympics, they always deliver. And I've always said that what is it that these guys are doing differently that the able-bodied people are not been doing doing differently? So these guys are always being, coming up with good results. 33rd in Africa, in the world, 4th in Africa. Nice performance, if you ask me. Nice performance.
In your own view, going forward, what do you think the government should do for this special athlete? Because we know that they get to deliver for Nigeria any day, any time they have been called upon to do so.
Government officials in previous Olympics where they have also rewarded them. But the message is now what we are appealing to the government, you must not wait until when they compete.
Exactly. Yeah.
At the same time, like most of those athletes has also cried out that they're strong heart to be able to have access to the vehicles, program. Sometimes when they're at the bus stop, some drivers will just look at them because of their wishes. Drivers will just want to carry them to inconvenience other passengers. So they need to have special transport attached to them to be able to access training facilities that move on to. And just like the Minister of Youth and Sports, something that he said, where he went to receive the first batch that arrived in Lagos. And he was quite commended the player, commended the athletes, and call on Nigerians to come and celebrate those guys.
Yeah.
And at the same time, yes, they are special athletes, they are from that they say ability and disabilities. They should be encouraged by their status and who they are, and yet they do the country proud. For 4 times the Nigerian national anthem was sung, and that is brilliant for the country.
Exactly.
You have your own national anthem sung at that global stage. But those athletes were able to give you that image. When everybody stood up for your own country to sing your national anthem, because someone put from your country, one little woman who you doesn't even recognize, especially somebody who is paralyzed, or give you that image, give you that global image. It means a lot. So government and individuals, the corporate bodies, and should come out and celebrate those guys. Especially that by now they started giving education to celebrate that. Not at the same time support them. Those are a lot, and the Minister of Youth has also said that yes, because if you look at those athletes, most of them are already above their 30. So they are already aging out.
So we need replacement.
We need replacement. And the
Absolutely.
minister have already echoed that plan that yes, very soon, in 2 weeks, they are going to start open camping, starting to look for the young ones. But already those guys, they are already. I don't see them going for Paris. Going to Paris and going back to 2024. And if I thought they are going to Paris in 2024,
They will not be at their best.
they are not be at their best because the age is already the bone and everything. The muscles is already breaking down. So we need to get the replacement, get the young ones who take over from them, but not neglecting those who are giving you the full image boosting so far. And this like this very one, we have medal. We have our expectation was not met because most of the athletes we expected them to give us good medals. So a person like Luis Ejike, who see her as a potential gold medal, couldn't get it again. He was always managed to get the bronze representative. Adeseko, who is a record holder for the Olympic, because of certain factors, he couldn't get it. Because he has to travel again to his bench, so he couldn't get us a medal. So many things, and even Loretta, the short girl in the short could also get the only managed to get the bronze. And according to her, she complained that she was bitterly disappointed because at the end he was saying that the bush was doing and that even the throw that were throwing, that he had the training, he used to throw more than that. But she can't even explain what come over that he did. That even that the record that won the gold to her is a nonsense. He used to throw more. He used to throw more than that. But unfortunately, it didn't work for him. It was not her day, and he was able to still get the bronze. Kudos to them. They are playing well. And even those that couldn't get the medal, those that shouldn't segregate them, they support get them together and handsomely reward them to encourage others.
Exactly.
Of course, I'll know that about it before we go because my producer is looking at me saying that our time is up. But quickly, let me just tell you, should it be a good news or a bad news for Arsenal fans at this point in time? Because a preliminary agreement has been reached between Arsenal and Antonio Conte, talking about the former coach of Inter Milan and former coach of Chelsea. An agreement has been reached for a preliminary, him taking over the role of Mikel Arteta at the Emirates Stadium. Also, we have in the package looking at the coup that happened in Guinea at this point in time. Liverpool are keen of securing their midfielder. Talking about Nabrikate, they are looking forward, to receive him back into the country because we know that at this point in time, flight has been banned from coming in and going out of Guinea, Conakry at this point in time. But quickly, let's get a final reaction before we end the show. Antonio Conte to Arsenal, Liverpool seeking to get Navigator.
Well, the Arsenal rumor for now is still a rumor because I saw some reports earlier this morning which actually said that there's nothing such of that in place. But by and large, if Arsenal are able to sort of get a Conte, fine. But I doubt if a top coach like Conte will want to come to Arsenal, considering the materials and even resources that will be at his disposal. So I really doubt if it's going to actually happen.
Looking at the coup.
Well, the coup, I mean, it happened while these guys were preparing to play in Morocco. So
that match couldn't go on.
Couldn't go on. Of course, these top European clubs don't play with their players. They always. I mean, I remember the incidents of Yakubu Ayegbeni some years ago when he had issues in camp and Portsmouth had to send a private jet to come and pick him and take him back. So these guys don't play with their players. After all, they spend plenty of money in bringing these guys. These guys on their payroll, so they do everything possible to ensure that they protect these guys and take care of their welfare. So a good move by Liverpool.
For me, I disagree with Mr. Alpha saying that Arsenal is not the right place for Conte.
It's not the right
To me,
place.
Conte should be grateful if Arsenal is bringing him. What are you saying? Arsenal is a big
Why
club.
should he be grateful?
So why should you say that Arsenal is a
Why-
big club?
It's a big club.
It's a big club. Arsenal is one of the
I
big clubs.
I
The pride
understand.
of the-
I understand. I
Arsenal
understand where
is
it's
a big
coming
club.
from because maybe they are not
Arsenal-
playing
Arsenal-
in
yes, it's
Europe.
worried.
Arsenal used to be a big club.
It doesn't mean that it used to be. Arsenal was one of the best clubs in Europe.
If you continue
Okay,
if you
I'm
continue like
It
this, we are not going
used
to
to
make
be
it.
Arsenal is
But
a
let
big
us get.
ground. Conte getting Arsenal is to add more to his saving.
I hope you know there are 20 on the table right now.
It does. Yes, it matter, but
Just after match day 3, don't worry.
So it's only left
No
for
goals,
Arsenal
no
management
goals,
need
no
to take
points.
action. Need to take action quickly.
Okay,
There's
let's-
no need giving Arteta another opportunity.
Let's see.
Arteta
But I think Arteta is the right man for Arsenal.
Arteta has nothing to redeem. He should just go and just go.
He's
Let them
been
get somebody.
given 5 matches to prove himself,
No,
or
yes.
else he gets
Okay,
the boot.
final navigator Liverpool.
That is a good move. They can't allow their players. You know, Conte is a very key player to them, and they can't allow him to stay there. And just like that, those players they don't joke with their players. Whatever situation they are ready at every time. I'm sure whatever it costs them to get him back, they'll be ready to do that. And that is good. He has happened severally.
Whatever it will cost for we to actually bring you good sports stories right here on the Leadership Podcast studio, we are ready to actually do that. On this final note, we want to thank our viewers for staying with us on the course of the show, and also to my sports analyst in the house, Salifu Usman Alpha.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure having you talking sports with you guys. But at this point in time, we say join us for tomorrow for yet another fresh edition of Sport Orbit right here on the Leadership Podcast Studio. My name is Olawale Ayen. I'm saying do have a good day. Bye bye for now. God bless.